Howdy! As you can probably tell, I'm sitting down. If you can't tell, I'm sitting down. The reason I'm sitting down is because we're going to do a technical study that I discovered that I needed. And it's kind of related to the picking exercise video I did maybe a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, it's basically this. I sometimes discover that I have a problem in my playing, and then I go about creating an exercise to fix that, okay? And so in this particular instance, I was working on a tune, and I was improvising, and I was just started playing a triplet line, okay? So my line was basically, and I'm just, you know, kind of working out the harmonic bug, so to speak. Okay? So I was playing, you know, a half diminished line there. So I started playing in triplets. Okay, and of course descending. Okay, so I wasn't quite as happy with that as the ascending line. So anyway, basically it came down to this. It was the fact that I was playing triplets, but in the right, what was happening in relation to the what I call logical picking, meaning whatever string I'm playing, when I move to the next string, the first direction that I use is the direction that I have to use to get to the string. So, in shorter words, hopefully, if I'm going from string 1 to string 2, string 2 is going to start with an upstroke. Okay? If I'm going from string 2 to string 3, I'm going to start string 3 with an upstroke because I have to move up to get to it. That's the idea. And of course, the opposite is true. When I'm going from a low-pitched string to a higher-pitched string, I'm going to move down to start it. Okay? So basically, it's this. All my upstroke strings were more challenging to start than those that were downstroke starting. Okay? So, and the fact that it was dealing with the triplet tempo or feel, it just wasn't working to my satisfaction. So, the exercise I started working on, of course, was similar to what we had in the first video. The first video being... and so on. Now, the idea behind that one really is that we are not only crossing strings one pluck at a time, so to speak, but also moving from that concept, where it'd be a series of downs, okay, and up and a series of downs, but going from that to an alternate stroke kind of a deal because we're playing along one string, okay? So it's really about the mixing of the two that exercise is covering and improving upon. The other thing with this one is that, or the thing with this one is that I'm playing triplets, okay? And I'm just doing a set of strings and I'm moving up, and I'm moving to the next set of strings and I'm moving down, and the next set of strings and moving up, and then from there I move down, up a set of strings and move up, and down a set of strings and move down. So we've covered every possibility because I'm weird and thorough like that. Okay? So anyway, that's the gist of the exercise. But at the same time, I want to talk about, in this lesson, I want to talk about metronome use, just a little bit, not a lot, and also practicing and how I think people should practice when they're really working on something, especially a technical matter like this. Okay? So with the metronome, I'm setting my metronome at 120. And the reason I'm setting it at 120 is because I know I can play this at 120. My goal is probably to hit maybe 150 or 160 beats per minute with this, just because I want to have that capability. I don't see any need really to go up to 200 beats per minute because I find that absurd. I think we just pass musicality when we do that. However, we may argue that 150 or 160 may not have much musical value. It depends. But at the same time, if let's say, for instance, subjectively we say 140 is the limit, wouldn't I want to be more capable to play something higher than that, at least by a little bit, so that I'm not, at my limit as far as my playing? Of course I would. I want to, make sure that I'm really, really comfortable with whatever I'm required to play. So, anyway, I suck, so I'm at 120 right now. Ha ha ha. I'm just kidding. Anyway, that's my limit with this particular exercise, okay? So anyway, that's it for the metronome, basically. Regarding practice, what happens is I think that people aren't practicing enough with enough focus and enough attention. So, if I were going to play this just one time through, and believe me, I've been playing it more than one time through the last couple of days, this is how I would do it, and I'm just going to play it one time through, okay? And if I bobble something, which I might, you'll just see how I handle that. And it's usually where I play that segment, or whatever happens to be my problem, I'll play that segment again, okay? So. There we go. All right. So, again, that's what I'm getting at when I'm talking about practicing and doing something a little more thoroughly, keeping your focus up and really getting something done. Okay. In this instance, I played this a couple of times today. I played it many times yesterday. I started maybe at 100 beats per minute yesterday and kind of got warmed up to it. And when I could play it reasonably perfectly, I was like, well, okay, all right, so let's knock it up a notch or two. So that's why I started playing it at 120. Anyway, again, that's what we're getting at. If you find that you have a problem, work on the problem, develop an exercise that will fix that problem, basically isolating the problem. Play it all over your instrument. If you whatever you're working on, if you're working on a line of some sort or a chord or whatever, don't work it in just that one spot. You've got an entire instrument. And I'm working up, this cuts off here. It's called a 14 fret instrument because at the 14th fret, you got to, start reaching over and doing this sort of business. So we don't want to play that. And I'm reaching the 15th, okay? So I am getting there a little bit. So I've got, let's say, especially with strings 3 through 6, see what I mean? I got to make a big reach. If I had to play 16, okay, then I'm asking of my body to do something that isn't quite as natural as I would ask it. So I'm not going to really worry about getting that good at something like that because you can find that note somewhere else. You see what I mean? So you don't really need to push it. Anyway, keep your focus up. Play at a tempo. That's the point about the metronome. Play at a tempo at which you sound great. Okay? find out at the tempo at which you don't sound so great, and then just, get underneath of that so you do sound great, but you're still pushing the limit. Anyway, hope that gives you some ideas on how to really get something happening.